what we're arguing and the hypothesis we've been pursuing in this grant is that certain types of religions, these religions we call pro-social religions, supernatural punishment for immorality, gods that care about human morality, costly displays, certain types of ritual behavior. These packages allowed people to unite on a large scale and then basically kill off or take over or absorb people around them. And so this is why we think you see the spread of certain types of religion historically throughout history and across the world. So this is something we've been working on for the past 6 years, and we've now accumulated a bunch of contemporary experimental evidence for this and also some historical evidence. So,
and to move well beyond the Dunbar number, right? I mean, that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
And
yeah. So the bottleneck in most, for almost all of our history has been this Dunbar number. So we've been limited by the fact that we can only cooperate with kin and people we can identify and keep track of reciprocal relations with. Once you get religion, you can suddenly have a big family that could, first of all, can tap into your kin psychology, right? So we're all brothers and sisters now.
In Islam, in Jesus, in whatever. Doesn't
God
matter.
is our father. So you're tapping into kin psychology, but now you're applying it much more broadly. There's a lot of these tricks, cultural tricks that seem to be able to bootstrap us out of our small scale tribal psychology, which is what we basically are.
Whenever we talk this way, I'm so reminded of how long it takes for human beings to develop. There's a reason behind so much of what we do. And then when revolutionaries come along and say, let's throw all this shit out. It's not working. You live in a patriarchy. You guys, and they're like, hey, dude, you don't know. You're 23, you fucking idiot. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Hold on and talk to people like Ted Slingerland and read his books. And you know what I mean? And Joseph Henrich is irresponsible.
Well, and the important thing is that, evolution is much smarter than any human individual.
Yeah.
That's a crucial insight. Yeah.
And that these things, I mean, some of the examples that Joe gives in the book about like nixtamalization of corn and, the processing of cyanide-rich manioc. If you're an individual human and you're coming along and you're trying to make sense, you're like, that makes no sense. Whoop, throw it out. And it's like, oh, wait, and it's actually, they're adding wood ash. Dying. Yeah, they're adding wood ash to make niacin bioavailable.
Yeah, it ain't just custom.
Yeah. So, and it's the same thing with religion. I mean, these structures evolved for a very long time. And I mean, in terms of the personal benefits, I mean, one of the things that always struck me, particularly with the Islamic world, is that you suddenly had it was an amazing networking device if you were a merchant. Because suddenly you could arrive in any random town anywhere in the world, and suddenly it's like, hey, we're in the same club. It's called Islam. That's awesome. Right. Let's do business.
That's right.
Yeah. No, that's got to be one of the mechanisms, right, that drove the spread of it and allowed it to succeed. So you allow people to cooperate in a way they could never cooperate before. So the part of the argument, though, of our grant is that at a certain point, secular institutions can take over some of the work that religion used to do. So now if you're a trader and you show up in some foreign port and you want to do business, why can you trust people? Because I'm using a Visa card.
Yeah.
And there's bank systems and you have legal recourse. And so, what's happened in secular societies is we've developed strong institutions that have taken over a lot of the work that religion used to do. So if you have an honest judiciary, you have a good legal system, you have faith in institutions, now you don't necessarily need an angry, punitive God. You don't necessarily need costly rituals anymore. And so we think that the rise I don't think there's been a huge rise in atheism. I think what there's been a rise in is this kind of spiritual but not religious people. So people still have
also a rise of Google and Facebook and these institutions. Those are becoming institutions that you can kind of trust.
Well, you can track people through them, certainly. Yeah. But so we think that, secular institutions in the modern world have taken over a lot of this work that religion used to do. And that's why you get Unitarians. You get people who are like, oh, all gods are kind of true. You would never have that in a situation where you needed belief to bind you together in a strong way. So.
Well, and that's why ultimately, what we really want to be doing is building stronger institutions. Like if you talk to Muslims about what are the core problems in their societies, it's corruption and nepotism.
Yeah. So no, you look at institutions, strength of institutions basically tracks religious belief. So as you get There's actually a new study that came out. It's really interesting that Joe sent to me about, I think it was in Ghana. And basically, as you increase people's health insurance, they become less religious. So as you give them more security in this area that seems random, you don't know why you get sick, you don't know, it could be God's angry at you and you should, placate them somehow. But you start getting health insurance and you go to the local clinic, you're like, that doesn't make sense anymore.
Right.
And so there's got to be, so that's just exactly what we would predict, is that as secular institutions get stronger, and then the U.S. is this weird outlier. So if you look at gross national product and religiosity, is a pretty straight line. So as people get richer and more secure, they become less explicitly religious. They become less affiliated with official religions. But the U.S. is way up here. It's an outlier. And it's got to be because even though the U.S. is wealthy, it's wildly insecure in terms compared to Canada, where I live now. Everyone here has health care. In the States, if you don't have health care and you get sick, you're screwed. Yeah. So religion is still doing the job it used to do in medieval ages in the United States today because you don't have strong institutions.